Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm going to be the OTA that's working with you today. Do you go by Carissa?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to take a couple of range of motion measurements. So first we're going to start with your forearm pronation and supination. So I'm going to have you hold the pen like this at a 90-degree angle. So go ahead and have me do that. I'm going to take my goniometer and I'm going to place the axis over the mid shaft and third phalanx. Okay, right, and then the stationary arm is going to be perpendicular to the floor, and the movable arm is going to be over the shaft of the pencil here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with supination first, and I'm going to go ahead and have you move your wrist just like that with the pencil. I'm just going to move that up just a little bit. Okay, perfect. We're at about 90 degrees. All right, so I'll go ahead and have you relax your arm. And I'm going to borrow that pen just to write down your measurement real quick. All right, so that was about 90 degrees for supination. All right, so now we're going to measure your forearm pronation. I'll have you hold that pen again at that same 90-degree angle. And again, I'm going to take my goniometer and place the axis over the third phalanx and mid shaft. Okay, then we're going to make sure we have this right here. There we go. And then again, we're going to just make sure that the stationary arm is perpendicular to the floor and the movable arm is over the shaft of the pencil. Let me line this up straight here. And then for pronation, I'm going to have you move your hand down.
Like that?
Yes, perfect. Okay, make sure everything's still lined up. Okay, and perfect. We're about 90 degrees for this one as well. So I'll go ahead and have you relax your hand. I'll borrow that pen back from you. And write that degree down. Okay, so next we're going to measure wrist extension and flexion. So what I'm going to have you do is you might have to turn your chair. So I'm going to have you hold your arm like this on the table. Straight out in front. Okay, perfect. So for this one, I'm going to take my axis. I'm going to put it over the lateral aspect of your wrist. Okay. And this is just going to be just distal to the radial styloid. Okay, and then the stationary arm is going to be parallel to the radius, which is this one, and the movable arm is going to be parallel to the metacarpal of the index finger. Okay, so we're going to start with extension first. I'm going to have you move your hand in that direction to the right for me. Perfect. Line that up. So it looks like we're at about 50. All right, so you can go ahead and relax your arm. I'm going to go ahead and write that measurement down. Okay, so for the next one, we're going to do is wrist flexion. I'm going to have you just hold your hand the same way. And again, I'm just going to put the axis over the lateral aspect of your wrist. Right about there. And so that is just distal again to the radial styloid. And we're going to have the stationary arm, which is this one, parallel to the radius. And the movable arm is going to be parallel to the metacarpal of your index finger. And for this one, I'm going to have you move it the opposite direction this way towards you. So go ahead and move your wrist in towards you. Perfect. All right. Just make sure I'm getting good measurement here. Okay. You're like right in between us, so you're like about 65. All right, so you can go ahead and relax and write that one down. Okay, so next we have radial and ulnar deviation. So for this one, you're actually gonna have it pretty similar to how you're having it now, just straight out flat. Perfect. And I'll take my goniometer. I'm gonna put the axis on the dorsal of your wrist right here. Perfect. So the stationary arm, which is this one, is in the center of your forearm, and the movable arm is going to be parallel to your third metacarpal. Okay, so for the ulnar deviation, I'm going to have you flex it to the right, so towards that direction. Perfect. All right. And I want to say you are at about 30 degrees.
Hello.
So that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and write 30 degrees. Let's see how to passerby walking by. All right. So that was ulnar deviation. Now we're going to do wrist radial deviation. And again, I'm just going to have you lay your hand palm down straight out. And I'm going to put the axis on the dorsal of your wrist right here. Make sure we line it up straight, so that we have the stationary arm in the center of the forearm, and the movable arm is parallel to the third metacarpal. So for this one, we are going to move, for the ulnar, you're going to move it in the left direction. So in the opposite direction this time.
way.
Yes,
Ooh,
perfect.
that's hard.
That one is a bit trickier. And this one, you are at about right 20 degrees. So that's perfect. Go ahead and write 20 degrees on. You can go ahead and relax your hand. So we're going to start with the finger MP flexion. So I'm going to have you lay your hand out just like that, or thumb down, whichever is more comfortable for you. So I'm going to take, we're going to use this different goniometer, this metal one, it's just a little bit stiffer to move. So we're going to place this over the middle of your metacarpal joint. And the movable arm is going to be over top of the proximal phalanx. What I'm going to have you do is bend your fingers in to make like a fist. You can bend your fingers all the way in like you're making a fist. Perfect. And we are right at 90 degrees. That's good. Go ahead and write that down.
Is that normal?
Okay, so that's right within the normal range. That's perfect. So next, and our last measurement is going to be the thumb MP flexion. So again, I'm going to have you lay your hand flat out like that. We're going to use the same tool right here. And I'm going to place this, the axis is going to be on the dorsal surface of the metacarpal joint. And the stationary arm is going to be over top of the thumb metacarpal, and the movable, the stationary one's right here. And then the movable arm is going to be over the proximal phalanx. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you bend your thumb down just like that. Oh, perfect, thank you. This one's got a long arm on it. So it should be right at about 50. Okay, alright, so that's perfect. We're right at about 50. So that is all of our range of motion measurements today, and I really enjoyed working with you, and I hope that I get to work with you again next time.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.